Synergetic journal videos of my individual continuous non-political manifesto. May 8th, 2026. Omnioriented Omnihalo concept, the closest approach to eternity and God. Part 13. Christina Herlufsen's ongoing Synergetics research project. Until otherwise informed, people everywhere on Earth remain imperviously unconcerned regarding the integral design of our full-fledged potential as an evolving species of the Eternal Omniscient Mind, which we can easily refer to by the sound word UEOM. Now that we have been apprised that universe is not a system, but is a scenario universe, then is Universe Eternal Omniscient Mind UEOM a differently conceived eternal mind as one's integral imagination clarification that helps to describe the otherwise indescribable eternal integrity beyond all space and time? Clearly, in respect to survival of all life, there is a great need to satisfy curiosities respecting the eternal mind's designing of all that is, was, and ever will be, which includes microcosmic infinitesimal zero size when communicating to self and to others as a reciprocation of interrelated relevant information. Not all information between self and the others is relevant, depending on the point of view, the points of more accurate discernment, the points which can be referential to topological characteristics of the first subdivision of scenario universe, which are 4 vertexes as points, 6 vectors, and 4 triangular areas as openings, all of which are the whole WHOLE system's parts that are visible to each other. The points as 4 stars are specifically referentially to the conceptuality of the tetrahedron's negligible altitude-based dimensioning that always maintains its integral regenerative design throughout the consciously deliberating integral thought process between self to self and self to others and others to self. You could dismiss these subtle details preferring what you've learned from early childhood, but when it comes to precise dialogue during critical decisions and potential agreements between nation-states, as but one example, these tetrahedral clarifications trump the egregiousness of any religion-ruled nation's adamant rigidity that may temporarily bend to the other's will with a faint intention that excuses its non-transparent reasons to temporarily agree as a compromise, while always intending to revert to its false premise adaptations, albeit having no clear idea of what truth in generalized principle is, primarily because such a nation's belief system believes in the power of its God that is essential for its religion to exist and survive, even though nothing that is iterated from its centuries of convincing worshipping followers started with the universe's zone of neutral resonance, never acknowledging the Omnihalo concept and the conceptuality of the vector equilibrium, which is the tetrahedron's empty set. Let's consider future possibilities, putting into practice what seemed of no relevant correlation to the world stage as egregious reenacting articulations replete with emulating actors playing their contributing part, reading Synergetics 535.05 through 535.11 today. Doing so, get closer to a clearer potential application of our omni-oriented Omnihalo concept before entering into serious transacting negotiations with any nation's belief systems indoctrinated leaders who cannot win for losing these days. At this war-making juncture, after boastfully threatening death to Israel, death to America, we have since learned of huge weapons stockpiled and nuclear-grade plutonium for making a nuclear bomb, which secretly provided the bombast's clout with such a deeply hidden coveted backup until much of it has been obliterated. What remains from the Khomeini style leadership evidences no intention to permanently put to rest the ingrained determination to control the line of oil supply and the world's freedom, spreading its slogans to the idealized youth and anyone who in some shape and form has not yet learned of the Synergetic's advantage, which can never be anti-freedom of thought, anti-freedom of speech, anti-omni-inclusive TLBSWME, truth, love, beauty, symmetry, wisdom, maximum economy. In any event, power goes with the line of supply, putting a silver lining around the aggressively chanted, widely popularized threats as a supposedly innocent slogan, excusing it as a historically contextualized reaction to the U.S. government's policies toward Islamic countries, merely an expression of outrage at those policies, not a wished-for physical death for American people themselves, explained away in a speech to university students from Iran's then Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's interpretation of the slogan as death to the U.S. policies, death to arrogance, technically and literally is actually at the tip of a perpetually lying tongue. Threats from wisest clarification correlations, obviously and technically, are asking for the most sound retaliations that otherwise were necessary, non-existent, in a peacefully coexisting world population with individual humans, each with a unique, one-of-a-kind personality, psyche, perspective, and philosophy, the 4 Ps said, to go everywhere with the individual entity. So too, do the individual's inviolable integrity has an inherent right to live and let live without belief system inducements to indoctrinate followers against the integral value. Logically, between approximately 8 billion humans on Earth, there must be one system in common to everyone, but it cannot derive from any factor of the PRJMWBSHM politics, religion, justice, military, war, belief system, hierarchical matrix, which is a tough pill to swallow. If that acronym contextually defines the belief system's intentions to permanently constrain anyone's integral imagination's innate ability to conceptually formulate freedoms that by degree are referential to metaphysical generalized conception in fields of thought induced during the lag rates between apprehending and comprehending the individual's awareness of the lucidly relevant sets, rudimentary, regenerating, patterning integrity of the Omnihalo. If ever there was a vitiated anti-freedom conceptioning that destroys the economical accounting system's potential that is innately discoverable and applicable to the human condition's amicable coexistence and general theory of variables, it is an obsoletable belief system by cunning that has survived for many partially overlapping generations and centuries, with human followers being none the wiser, specifically because nature's coordinate system was not discovered before the 20th century. The long delay enabled more accumulated power to the inculcating belief systems that presently are under a type of siege that challenges the M factor to upgrade its operational fields, correlating with honorable choices that appeal to its highest self-evaluations without having to be defeated by a perpetually deplorable enemy. One possibility prior to activating any potential loss of troops is for the nation's leaders before ensuing talking negotiations is to write out every word as shown here in this manifesto as an example. It imposes a limit for doing all that must be met without excuse. What otherwise can we expect if not a concisely documented contract, which is normally devised for upholding any steadfast agreement anyway? We are not playing games in any event where the cost of living begins to exceed the minimum daily requirements for survival of life. Those written agreements are not secret documents, as are not the crumbled public and private edifices from detonated bombs. The evidence is clearly a ruinous predicament left for the people of a nation to fix. Humans can grade the nation's written contracts word for word to logically include include a clearly understood definition of every researched word, every potentially generalized concept. It gives the observing public a clear indication of leadership ineptness and or clearly competent advisory anticipatory readiness for every subsequent expectation, especially now since AI everything is mooching in on the action that can fool all sides of an issue, promoted thus by invisible forces whose profiting ambitions exceed the common human, the lay folks' simplest accounting, where most people count in dollars and cents, not in billions and trillions, and not one bit of concern for the newly born generations and our future progeny and what they will inherit from the extreme PRJM self-serving. Until next time, thank you. Gratefully, faithfully, eternally, Christina Herlufsen. Contact herlufsencristina@gmail.com.